right, we got a small group tonight. We have a great guest speaker here from Southern California, Masashi. He's the creator of the Google plugin for Google Maps for Ionic. There's food in the back. Are you guys diddy? Everybody ate. All right.
Well, good.
If anyone else comes, there's some extra food. A little bit about me. I'm a technology entrepreneur. Right now I'm working on an Ionic project. You can find me there. Here's our mission statement, which I like to reiterate every meeting. Ionic Los Angeles is a community where like-minded developers and product managers can collaborate and share experiences building solutions on the Ionic framework. So sometimes we go around and we introduce everybody and we talk about what we're working on. So why don't we do that? I'm Brett. I'm a contractor now for a learning app, continuing education. I'm working on it with a team of about 4 or 5 people, and it's coming together well, and the company's happy with it. And if we have time later, I'll do another demo. And anyone else who wants to talk about it. Michael?
Hi, Michael. I just converted my Ionic 1 application to Ionic 3 because 2 months ago, I got tongue lashing. He's been bugging me to convert it. It was a good decision. I should have done it a long time. Anyway, so for Ionic 3, I've only been doing it for about 2 months now. But other than that,
What was the main motivation for upgrading?
I was having difficulty getting it, getting my application to run to the Ionic Pro site. Was having difficulty converting my application to run on the iPhone, to generate the IPA file.
Plus, it's abandoned. I told them it's abandoned. Nobody's going to be doing anything fun on it at all. So you can either stay with it and be constrained by an older version or upgrade. Yeah.
And is the upgrade process?
It's brutal.
It's brutal because it's Angular 2 and
well,
it's TypeScript.
right. But now the upgrade process is not brutal. But from 1 to 2
1
or
to
3
2.
is brutal.
Right.
But from 3 to 4, it shouldn't be nearly as bad. Yeah.
I've been doing it solid, 8 hours a day for 2 months. It's a full rewrite.
Right.
All the HTML changes, everything changed.
Yeah. How about you, Brett?
I'm Brent. I'm an Ionic learner.
Good. I'm Oliver, and I'm an Ionic learner as well. I came into a startup that has a Ionic app, and kind of learning about it now. But it has a great purpose, and so my goal is to help to understand what we can do with it, what the upgrade requirements are going to be, and what kind of resources I can network with who can help with potentially that type of change.
I'm Pete, also an Ionic, actually program learner. I'm starting to try to teach myself how to do it. I'm working with Oliver, the founders of the app, and it's Ionic 1, right? So.
It's based on Ionic 1.
By the end of the meeting, I'm going to shame them too.
I'm glad I won't do it.
Yeah. So will Masashi, I bet you too. Here's some resources. You guys have all seen these. That's it. So
Actually, can you go back to that? Because I'd like to.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, I'd like to take a picture of that one.
Sure. Yeah, these are all handy resources. They haven't changed that much. The Slack group is so big now, though, that anything you post kind of goes by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
All right, Masashi. Welcome. You can use this or HDMI. This one?
That's why I can enter to Ionic easily. So today I'd like to talk to my plugin, Ionic Google Maps plugin. So you're familiar with Ionic, right? So you don't need to explain about this. Ionic is a framework for web, Android, and iOS. So what can I do? What can you do with Ionic Google Maps plugin? You can embed Google Maps native view in your application. So one for both Android and iOS. Yes, I'm planning to implement for web maybe next year. It's very easy to use. So Ionic has a wrapper of Apache code Loban. So your code run on the browser side, but this plugin take over native side and browser side both. Let's see the demo. So this is the demo. Oh, okay, let's tap on the demo button. This jumping onto the current location. Here you can see rotate. You can create your application like this. Even this is see you can tap on the any side menu. Can you imagine what happened? This is capture of Android. See, button is HTML, Ionic button. The native view is Google Maps. It's completely different. This is Android version. So Android version side menu is overlap on the map. So how can I take it? The tab is browser or native view. Can you imagine? Any idea? No?
How can you imagine which one's
Magic.
magic? It's
Yeah,
under.
it's under the browser.
Okay.
It's a hacky kind of like this. So this plugin generates a transparent layer, touch layer. Then touch it. Where? Oh, maybe this is browser or this is map. That's smart, right? Okay. I just want to show you how to create this application. First of all, you need to register your API key to Google. You just go to this URL and choose project or select your project. Oh, I will share you this slide later. Then enable Google Maps API. So you need to both Google Maps Android API and for iOS. Don't enable to JavaScript API. This plugin doesn't use. Then you need to create a credential. This is the API key for Google Maps API. Usually, API key generates for both platforms, Android and iOS, but you can use one API key for both API also. So this is what happen. I mean, if you want to release your application, you need to restrict your key for Android or iOS. But for development, you know, it's random strings, so nobody knows. So you can use both. Okay, this is, so let's program it. So first of all, create your application. This is side menu template. Then you need to install Ionic Native Google Maps and Ionic Native Core. Please install latest version every time. I update frequently. And also, you need to install my plugin, my actual plugin called plugin Google Maps. You need to specify the API key when you install the plugin. You cannot specify later. If you want to, you need to uninstall, then reinstall. So, what should you need for the first is you need to modify the app module TS. So, add the import the plugin and specify it to the provider. Then go to your page. This is, for example, this is form and form HTML. Kind of found in my app. So what you need is just create a div or HTML element. What do you want to display the Google map? Where do you want it displayed? So you can create the CSS you want to do, but the important thing is background is always be transparent, because the browser Google Map view is under the browser. That's why you cannot specify the background color or background image. The plugin supports another way to specify the background color through the special method, but currently background image is not supported.
That's a question.
Yes.
And on your first slide, you showed that you had a button on top, the home button or some other function. Does that mean that if any image that you lay on top of it
Yes.
will kind of, you won't be able to access the map at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
So
why
that's-
this plugin is very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can show you more awesome demonstration. Sorry, go back to app component TS again. This plugin is native side mainly. That's why kind of trick is needed. So, but when you launch your application, please don't specify the root page up here.
Why not?
Yes, I will show you
Okay.
later. Then you have to wait this platform ready. After that, yes, you can set. If you don't do that, you can get error, this error.
Okay.
Oh.
Then go to the home.ts means your code writing press. You need to specify the Google Maps in your constructor. Yeah. This is the main code of simple map of creating. What you need is just this Google Maps to create and specify the div tag ID. You can also specify the div element or domain element that I recommend you specify div ID. Yes, and I will describe the reason later. Then last line, you can get this application. Okay, before dive into the deep side, I'd like to show you the future of this plugin. Adding a marker is very easy, just like this. You need to specify at least position, latitude, longitude pair, and you can specify color, title, animation. You can do that. Icon has a many features. You can specify color name, RGBA, image file, HTTP, even base64 encoded image. And so you can generate the image dynamically. This is the demo of icon property. See, this demo shows you icon changing when you tap in. Marker has an event. Click, drag, drag or info window, open or close or something like that. But then, like normal JavaScript, you can listen the events with other event listeners or jQuery style, one or form. You can do that. It's easy, right? Removing, it's very easy. You can probably you just need the off method is remove all event listeners. So this is the example of adding two markers. In this code, I specify event listener, callback of add marker for one call function. You can get marker instance, then create listener. Yes.
Can you animate the marker from one coordinate to another coordinate?
Yes.
I mean, and have the marker slide or just pop over it? Animate the movement? Like if it were a car,
yeah.
right?
Marker doesn't have a feature for that. However, plugin provides another utility library, so you can create animation. Yes.
So the markers that are there are through Google Maps, and so if you rotate the map or expand upon it, the markers remain. They're not going to inhibit you from touching the map. Is that right? It's not on the browser level. It's on the Google. It's on the map layer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Polyline is a line of geological. You can create. You can add polyline to other polyline method. It's easy. You just need to specify the point where you want. location of when you touch on the polyline. Why this is great? This is great thing because native Google Maps API does not provide the location.
So you can't trap that using the native Google Maps API, but your plugin, you can trap the location they tapped on? That's what you're saying?
One more time, please.
You're saying that because it's a plugin on top of Google Maps, you can trap the location?
No. This plugin receives the tap location through native API. However, location tap event as tap on Google Map. Map type. Then calculate geological calculation, which is on the which is on the line, which is on the polygon, which is on the marker, everything calculation. Yeah. Native API, you can tap on the you can listen the events for native line polyline. However, so just click the event. The only way you can getting the tap location, latitude longitude is only map click. That's why this plugin calculation everything. Polygon. This is polygon example. You can modify the polygon easily. Circle. Circle is just you need is center and radius. Ground overlay. You can wrap on the map particular area. You can display your image. This plugin also provides a click event. You can also rotate this image also. Time layer. If you want to create original map, you can use type overlay. Another awesome feature is callback style. Because there is another similar plugin such as React Native Google Map, or somebody creates for Google Apple Map plugin for Cordova. However, usually this is for template type. URL http:// your server name /x or y dot ping. Then replace the zoom actual values. But this plugin call back to JavaScript side. Then get the URL and retrieve the image. The benefit of this is you can generate the various URL. For sometimes some developer ask me to they want to display the map only particular area. So you can check here. That's why this plugin is very useful. So this is an awesome demo of HTML. Since this plugin has two-layer browser and put HTML in info window. There is no other plugin. So this plugin generates info window on browser side and follow the marker. Also, you can tab. If you want to do that, you can embed YouTube in. Marker cluster. Marker cluster is for kind of professional, but very useful. Marker clustering is make a cluster marker for crowded places. So if you want to do that, usually you need to implement by yourself with kind of difficult algorithm, but this plugin provides, that's easy. Add marker cluster, that's easy. So geocoding. So geocoding means converting historical address to latitude longitude pair. So usually another plugin you provide just one phrase like this. This plugin provides multiple requests, batch requests. So this is an example. 51 location, U.S. capital city, 52, sorry, 52 city names, just 1.29 seconds.
Can you go the other way? Can you go from a line
Yes,
to an actual street address?
yes.
How accurate is that?
Instead of address, you can specify latitude longitude. That's it. Then convert. You can get the result through the promise.
Good.
Base class is a basic layer of this plugin. All classes, all overlay classes is extended by base class. So base class has these methods. Have you ever used Google Maps JavaScript API? Briefly? Nobody?
Say that again?
Google Maps JavaScript API.
Yeah.
So have you ever used MVC object?
Which one? Sorry?
MVC object.
MVC?
Yeah. No, probably no, right? No, yes.
I mean, not,
Yeah.
I don't know if you control it.
MVC is a model view controller.
Oh.
You probably know.
No.
The Google creates the MVC object. That is the same as base class. I thought they are very smart because without this class, I cannot create this plugin. You know, this is designed for similar to Google Maps JavaScript API we see. If you have an experience with Google Maps JavaScript API, you don't need to read the document. Almost all methods are same, except add marker or add circle or something like that. But other methods are almost the same. So what is the talk of this is MVC object. MVC object is a class that is change something. This is what I want to do. What I want to talk is this. When you set a new value for a key, you can get hello world change events. For example, for marker, if position is changed with such as dragging, you can get position change. So every time when you set a new value, always hello change, I mean key name underscore change. So when you create a marker, you want to probably save the data to marker for one location, such as ID or name, person name or location name. You can specify just you can include your data, then you can get data to get a method. This example is a count up 0 to 1, 1 to 2, something like that. Also, this is kind of useful option is a no notify option. When you want to set the value without event, you just need to third argument to it true.
That's, it doesn't return a promise?
No,
Instant.
yes. My favorite method is bind to. Bind to combines the two properties. So, for example, this is one marker, this is another marker. If we change the position, then bind to another one, same another marker, the same location. So this is the event, example. See, circle is follow the marker. So this is the useful method for event trigger. Trigger fires event, and you can pass the data with event. So you don't need to write the view change code. I mean code for changing view, such as moving or even browser side. You can separate the code. That's why event. So event-driven style is a very great way to separate the code, view, data, or model. Okay, I'd like to answer the reason of app component. So Ionic, also Cordova is a two side, browser side and native side. And Cordova method, all method is asynchronously. Oh, sorry. Reason for app component is more later. But this plugin is a kind of smart system of this way. So can you imagine what happened this code? Probably you expected map creator, clean up map and adding marker. However, as I said, all methods executed in asynchronously. So firstly, this can
Yeah.
can you understand what happened?
It'll wait if you don't put the dot then.
Yeah, you have to wait.
Yeah. It'll block.
Yes. Otherwise, so yeah, or blank map. So, however, this plugin has a command queue internal. Internal command queue is control the timing of all methods. So, map clear method has a property of this. This method have to wait until done. Then, adding marker is a independent. Each method does not relate each other. That's why plugin can execute in parallel. That's why this code works as you expected. But problem is limit on 10.
So you have a hardwired limit of 10?
Yes. Reason of number 10 is, has two reasons. Select number of 10 in native side, and also Cordova refuse the command execution when you execute a lot of methods. So the best value is 10. That's why this plugin executes 10 methods in one time. Yes.
So if you want to drop 100 markers, how do you manage through that? How do you manage so that there's no, if you have a limit of 10 before you have synchronicity issues, how do you manage when you have to put more markers down?
When you're creating a marker, you need to create, you need to use the base class, base array class. That helps you to manage all markers at the same time. This example uses the base array class. I will explain later. Then you need to use you can use event driven. I mean, marker has a base. Marker is an extended class of base class. Base class has a on or address now, something like that. So I mean, you can trigger to base array class to drop event. Then base array class to markers. Dot. You can do it. So there are many synchronous methods. Mostly camera changing methods are synchronous. Base array class. Without this class, I could not create this plugin. Base array class is kind of similar to array, JavaScript array, but it has a useful method. For example, for each is same as for for loop, you can do like this. But in this code, you can, you don't catch the, you cannot get the timing of when all markers are additive. You have to count up or something like that in this here. But using for each async wait the method. So for example, this method, this code adds the multiple markers, then you can get the time with promise. Do you know map reuse algorithm? You probably know. So map is kind of similar to for each, but you can get the results.
The Windows Phone doesn't have silence on.
So if you want to get all markers titles, you can do like this synchronously. But if you want to get all markers instances, you need to use map async. Like this. So you just need to specify then next. Next is coming from here is a callback of one loop. Filter is a filtering feature of array. So if you want to show the marker on the restaurant, you can detect like this. But if you want to getting data from, asking to your server, remote server, you need to use this. So you can go to web server and wait the response. Then go to next marker, something like that. So when you push on pop with this base array class, you can get insert of event or something like that. Also, if you change the value of element, set up the event will be triggered. So I will show you the example of base array base array class. So there is 4 locations. Then out polygon 2 points. You just need to specify points. Then go. After that, in this example, I use polyline get points. Polyline get points returns the instance of base class. Base array class. Then, so base array class contains the locations of 4 locations. Then using, this is old code. You need to map async. But you can add marker just 4 lines. position change event of all marker. So if position marker is dragged, that base array element is updated. So here you see this green area calculation the distance of path. So result is something like this. It's very short code, but you can easy to create map like this. Oh, I forgot to answer that reason. So yes, I will answer this question. You probably get the answer, but let me explain for other people. This plugin has a native side and browser side, but usually native side is slow than browser side. That's why when you specify the div tag ID here, sometimes Google Map plugin is not loaded yet. However, so code is running. That's why you can get error. Also, the reason of I recommend you specify ID here is sometimes ionic do flying. What do I mean is when you get the when you create a page, you probably use ion to load it method. However, that time is not DOM elements, not all DOM elements are loaded. I mean, when you use side menu application, when you change it to page A to page B, what happens if there are two div have the same ID? Div ID mapped canvas and in the page B mapped ID canvas. So if you do that, so document.getElement by ID is which one is returned? Actually page A. Then you get the white page because you specify the div tag of page A and map creates the map view in native side, but this plugin also detects that div tag is removed because page A is closed. That's why you get the white page. But if you specify div ID here, plugin waits page B automatically. That's why I recommend this here. Actually, this plugin has tons of methods. I cannot explain, introduce all methods always. So when you go to web page, I mean the repository page, there is a bunch of examples of all methods. For example, if you want to create marker animation, you need to specify, you need to use specifical interpolate. Interpolate means calculate the position of middle point. If you want to distance A and B like this, you can use compute distance between A and B. This is example of center and marker position distance. Unfortunately, code is for JavaScript version, but almost the same, all methods are same for with JavaScript version and Ionic native version. So you just convert to TypeScript. So today's example. So this example is available at website, GitHub repository. Maps plugin, Ionic Google Maps, click them. So please try to use this plugin in your house. And if you have a question, you can contact me to issue it. So you can how to create marker. That's it. I always watch this issue list. Probably you can get the answer in at least one day. Or sometimes 1 hour or 5 minutes or something like that. Okay, that's all.
Good job.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. So, question? What motivated you to build this in the first place?
There are a couple of reasons. Because I am GD means kind of similar to of MVB of Google. I have been GD for Google Maps API for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's the one of reason. Second reason is skill up for myself. And third reason is helping for other people.
How's your donations linked to people? Click it.
Some kind of people gives me $5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that. Please buy me a beer.
You should put Bitcoin on.
Yeah, some ask me.
If you put Bitcoin on there, I'll send you some.
Oh, really?
Yes, I
Good.
promise.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. So, what's the biggest project that you know of that's using it?
Electronic company in Texas use this plugin
Yeah.
for
Electric
maintenance.
company.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. For a business app.
Yeah, business app.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, this plugin is very popular, especially for in Europe people like love this.
Yeah. Do you have any competition?
In Cordova, nobody.
Yeah, oh, really? There's not a second plugin?
Yeah.
I always wonder about that. Like, because there's no official, there may be, if there was more, there'd need to be like a certified or something. Because if you have multiple people trying to do the same thing, which one is best? You know?
How do you arbitrate that? You'd have to have like a central directory, like an app store, but then nobody wants that. It's not democratic enough.
Maybe for 5 minutes more. I want to introduce the get position method of marker. Looking for not special method, but you know what? This marker is native site. You know, if you want to get the marker real actual position, you need to ask to map view and what's the position. Then go back to position JavaScript side. But you know this program is just like this, asynchronously. How do I do that? Can you imagine? Nobody? No idea? Really? This is another awesome system. So, browser side, native side. If marker moved or changed or something like that, sending an event from native side to JavaScript side, then keep the values. That's why you can do that. 99% of all methods that you can use synchronously.
So your plugin is listening, it's subscribed to that
Yeah.
event, and always listens to anything
You're
that happens.
always listening, everything.
Right.
Even camera position. See this? You can get the camera position in synchronously. So plugin send even position data to JavaScript side always. Kind of overhead, but it's very useful for developer. So this plugin has a version 1 and version 2. Version 1 is a wrapper of just a wrapper of Google Maps API. That's why all methods are asynchronously, always asking to native side and go back to JavaScript side, always something like that. This is going to dive into forever loop.
Oh.
A lot of loop. I mean, wait. No, I don't want to do that. That's why I send values from native side to JavaScript side.
Do you have an active community submitting pull requests? Like, how many contributors?
Well, there only me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it says 11 there, at the top. 11 contributors.
11 contributors or
Right,
right.
right?
To the right.
Yeah.
they are telling me this is typo or this is wrong English.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
This is my private account, and Masashi GMS is a working account. So this is the traffic of this demonstration. Every day, so almost 10,000 people. Very popular this plugin.
Yeah.
So let's play. I mean, play with this plugin in your home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank
All
you
right,
again.
thank you.
Thank you.
This is really helpful.
It's amazing. Good stuff.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Well, I think we'll call it a year, and then I'll try and get some good speakers lined up for next year. You know. Turn off. I'll try and get some good speakers. If you guys come across anyone, you know, this is. I'd love to, you know, have